I'm fine. How are you?
Good.
Yeah. Can you please turn on your camera?
Um, yes.
Yes. Hi.
Okay. So, where is the share button when I get ready to start to pull up my PowerPoint?
There is a next to a mic button.
Pardon me?
There is a next to mic button.
Um, there's a present to audience button.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah. There is an upside arrow button right next to the mic
Okay.
button.
The share screen. Here we go.
Yeah.
So do I need to use the entire screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's
Okay.
working. Yeah. And before starting your session, I want to introduce you to our audience, Sandra.
Yes.
Yeah. Sandra is a certified life coach known for empowering individuals to achieve greater self awareness and inner healing. Her guidance has led to many powerful personal transformations, promoting emotional well being and improved communication. Sandra's coaching approach emphasizes the importance of strong interpersonal relationships. She is deeply committed to fostering community growth. Her work continues to create lasting impact in both personal and professional lives. That was a really great bio, Sandra, and the stage is all yours.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. So nice to be here, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be here to share with you on this stage. So today I will be talking to you or speaking to you about leadership, empowering leadership through masterful communication. And I promise you, it is coming from a different angle that you have probably not thought about. And so we're going to
Sandra?
lead. Yes.
Yeah, can you please reshare your screen? That is not visible.
It's not sharing.
Yeah, please
Okay,
try to reshare again.
hold on. Let me. All right. So I hit the share screen. And then I hit. I want my picture to be up while I'm talking. So should I do the window or the entire screen?
Yeah, anything is fine.
Okay. So here it is, screen one, and I'm hitting share.
Yes, it's working.
Okay. Can Let me get this down now. Okay. So there you go. So all right. Uh, so I want to go and over here to the uh, from the beginning. See, okay. So can you still see it? Hello? Can you still see the screen?
Yes, Sandra, please go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Dr. Sandra Ingram, and I am so glad to be with you on this platform today. And we'll be sharing with you some insights on empowering your leadership through masterful communication skills. And I know you're all great communicators, but I want you to think of things a little bit different than what you have thought before to make you even better. So, the first question I want to ask you is, and I want you to think about this, how many of you want to lead in a way that makes people want to work with you. And this is not because they have to, but because they admire how you lead and they respect you. And this is something that all of us want to be able to do instead of forcing people to follow you. So, to help you understand what I am, my how I came up with what you need to be have masterful communication, I want to tell you a little bit about my journey, if that's okay with you. So, I was one of those people that looked like they had it all together. When I went to a meeting, I had all my paperwork together. I had my PowerPoint together. I had everything that I needed. I knew the answer to every question that I thought would be asked. But on the inside, I was lost and I didn't know who I was, and I lacked the confidence, to move forward. And when I say moving forward, could have got promotions or did other, but move forward in my own space, in my own abilities to believe in myself, what I could do. So I couldn't name my own strengths. So when I wanted to know, if I asked somebody, am I a good leader? And I would ask them why. If I had to write it down myself, I would have a hard time coming up with positive things. But as you know, that is harder for us to do, but we can always come up with the negative things. So I realized I was writing a story that kept me stuck, not others. It was not about who kept me stuck in this place, why I couldn't move forward. It wasn't my boss. It wasn't the people I worked with. It wasn't my education. The saboteur was me. I was my own saboteur. And until I faced my wounds and reclaimed my identity, that I began to lead myself and eventually others. And that's why I created what I call the trifecta system. Okay. And this is a pathway to healing, discovering who you are, and to lead with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Because the first step to leading others is learning to lead yourself. If you can't lead you, you are not a good leader of others. So this trifecta system was born for that journey. It's the path I created now, first for myself and now for others, to break free from inner sabotage, to stop writing my own stories, not waiting to see how the story unfold, but already knew what was going to happen before it did. So I had to discover my authenticity. And then after I did this system, I could rise with clarity and confidence and purpose. And it all begins with healing and with self-awareness. And we're going to find out that self-awareness is the number one reason and that makes us good leaders and communicators. And this is not because I say it, but it's because that's what the research shows. So before you can change the world, you must first change the story you are telling yourself. So that is my background on how I came to up with this trifecta system, and it included inner healing, intuitive listening, and intentional speaking. Remember, this is hear, speak, and lead. That's how you master communication. You cannot lead if you don't know who you are, and that's the number one question I want to ask you today. Who are you? And we're going to talk about that a little more. And you have to learn to connect with your inner voice, because that guides you to make authentic decision making. But you have to know who the inner voice is, how to listen to the inner voice. And the inner voice has to be in a place that it can help you. And so then we have intuitive listening. You can't just hear. Hearing is not listening. You can't just listen to people's words, but you got to look at what's behind the words and the intentions behind them. And so, what my mom used to say, from my mouth to your ear is a long way. So what is what you think you're saying and what people are hearing are two different things. And so how do we become clear and precise and to listening in what people are asking us instead of just saying, oh, I know what you're asking. No, you don't. You don't know, because you don't know their paradigms, and you really don't even know your own. So we have to do intentional speaking. That's aligning our words with the truth. Get clear, precise, driven messages. People don't follow us, or they always say we don't understand because we're not clear. And if we're honest with ourselves, we know we're not clear because we don't sometimes understand what we're talking about. We understand it, but we have those little things that we're not clear on. And that's what shows up. That's what people hear. Because people are not mind readers, they don't hear what's in your head. They only hear what comes out of your mouth. So when I created this trifecta system, I got freedom. I felt empowered. I felt confident. And I began to move myself from stuck to clear. And that was awesome. And now, so communication we're talking about here is the core of effective leadership. So Alan Greenspan says this: I know you think you heard what I said, but what you heard was not what I meant. So let's think about that for a minute. I know you think you heard what I said, but what you heard, that's not what I was talking about. That's what he's saying. Because we come into conversations with our own form of where we came from, our paradigms, our upbringing shapes what we say and what we hear. And as you're talking to another person, what they receive is shaped by their paradigms and what they have heard. So it comes. So you have to learn how to navigate that void between what you say and what is heard. And so real communication begins with growth. It begins with self-awareness, understanding your personal communication patterns, and to then invoke active listening. You have to understand what you're saying, why you're saying it. Have you ever said something like, I don't know why I said that, or I didn't mean for that to come out that way? And so these are things you must know what to expect from others, and they must know what to expect from you clearly. So my question is, who are you? And what I want you to tell me in one word is, who are you? And not your label. I want you to tell me who you are. Who is the essence of you? That's the real question that leads to great leadership. Labels, or I'm a mother, I'm Dr. Ingram, I'm a #1 best-selling author, I own a business, Reflective Metamorphosis, but that doesn't tell you who I am. They're just labels. So who are you is the question that needs to be answered for you to be a great communicator and a leader. Remember, labels only describe you. They are not your essence. And I want you to think about this as you're listening to this. Think about who you are. If I asked you, maybe I'll try to ask you then, who are you in one word? Okay. So now we can talk about the things that most people talk about. What is your leadership style? And most of the time, our leadership style is more than one of these. It's a combination. But what we don't realize is what we think our leadership style is, but how does it come off to other people? Are you passive? Are you aggressive? Are you passive aggressive? Are you assertive? And sometimes you're probably been all of these dependent on the situation. But what you have to understand is, who are you most of the time? Okay. Are you approachable? Are you not approachable? Are you dogmatic? This is what I say. This is what I do. And when people say stuff, you're only listening through your lens and not their lens. Do others see you as yourself? So have you ever wondered why other people don't understand what you say when it's so simple to you. And I will tell you, they have not grown up in your world, and they do not have your background or your experiences. They have. So you expect them to understand where you come from, but you don't respect where they come from. So, how do we define your leadership? What are your we do it through our personal values, our strengths, our experiences that shape your leadership style. So whatever you've learned, that's why we have to overcome these paradigms and know who we are, because we don't know where we came from, we don't know where we're going, we don't know the things that shaped you to be the person you are. And sometimes, even though we try greatly to change who we are and say that we're not going to be like so and so, we find ourselves being just like that, because that is maybe ingrained in us, and we have not had the opportunity to really deep down to ask that question, who am I? So, and this is not easy, defining your leadership voice. It takes years, it takes hard work, it takes trial and error. So if many of you are sick and tired of just being sick and tired of not being able to move forward. And sometimes it's not that you can't move forward, you do move forward, but you do it with such trepidation. And you had to fight, you had to scramble, you had to do everything you can to get other people to see who you are. Why can't people see who I am? And unfortunately, the answer to that question is because you don't know who you are. You can't expect other people to know what you don't know. So, who are you in one word? Remember, that's what I asked you earlier. I'm asking you again to think about it. Remember, labels describe you, not define you. I'm Dr. Sandra Ingram, founder, CEO, reflecting man voice, but they don't tell you, like I said, who I am. And I can tell you in one word who I am. I am a servant. So that's who I am. That is my essence. So if you want to lead people, you have to know who you are and know your own essence. Because if you don't know you, remember, you cannot lead others. And let me change that to you cannot effectively lead others. So I don't care if you're a leader and you're the biggest CEO and you're in the number one spot. But this is what I ask people, and these are women. When you go home at night, who are you? Who is the man in the mirror? When you're crying in your bed because somebody hurt your feelings, didn't accept what you say, but you're strong and powerful while you're out front. But who are you behind the doors? So there is a research quote, and we're going to talk about self-awareness as the number one reason. This was from Dr. Tara Wells, PhD. They wrote an article in Psychology Today that was backed up by Harvard University. In today's world, effective leadership is more important than ever. Among the qualities that define successful leaders is self-awareness stands out as one of the most critical assets. Now, would you ever thought that being self-aware, scientifically backed up, when I was developing Trifecta and when I was going through everything, I didn't know that it was self-awareness. I had to stumble through and find out for myself, and it took years. So think about it. Self-awareness, the making of a good leader. How you communicate with others depend on how self-aware you are. So keys to the successful leadership, and we're talking about this, you have to focus on your inner clarity. What are your beliefs? What are your strengths? And you absolutely have to know your limitations. You don't have to advertise them to people, but you have to know them, because if you don't know them, others will point your limitations out. And you already want to know who you are, what your limitations are, and how to deal with them so that others won't have to tell you. And then you won't have to get upset. But they don't know what they're talking about. That's not true. Yeah, it is true. You don't know. And it's okay. So connecting with your inner voice guides you to authentic decision making and communication. So then how do you connect with that inner voice, that person's that talking to you? The first thing you have to do is conquer your paradigm. You're going to have to go back to find out who you are. And unfortunately, it's from your childhood on forth. All the people that influence you, they are still with you. Who are they? Where do you come from? Remember that your labels don't define you. They just describe you. So you got to connect that inner voice. Now, then you have to hear, and we're going to talk about intuitive listening. So, intuitive listening allows you to go beneath the surface and support transformational conversation. So, intuitive listening, to be a great communicator, you have to be able to listen. It's not about talking, it's about listening and not just hearing. All right. So when you hear, the words just bounce off your eardrum. But when you listen, you get into the depth. And intuitive listening is where the spoken truth meets the unspoken need. And I want to say that again. Intuitive listening is where the unspoken truth, what is not said, meets the unspoken need. So you're speaking as a leader in your communication style, where what to speak to get to the unspoken need of that person or the individual. And no, we're not psychologists, and we don't have to go through everything. And people go, oh, that's just too much. Well, it's going to be too much either in the beginning or in the end. So we have to learn how to conquer. So intuitive listening enables leaders to perceive not only words, but emotions and intentions behind them. So when you're communicating with people, you have to listen. Listen. And a lot of people think this is emotion, but it's like, I don't care if it's a man or woman, you have to listen with your heart and not just with your ears. Focus on cultivating active and empathetic listen, responds in ways that honor both you and other people. You don't have to give up who you are to learn to listen to somebody else. If you just give people respect, if they're hollering, being mad, upset, it's okay, because everybody has issues that they need to overcome. And you have your bad days like everybody else. Do open dialogue. And when you talk about intuitive listening, have you ever been listening to somebody and they sound like somebody you have heard before in your family? So hear from within, being aware of internal state and how it influences others. Leaders who listen from within can connect, understand, and respond effectively. And that's what we want to be able to do. Then we have when you intentionally speak, you align your words with your truth, expressing thoughts and feelings with intention. How? Number one, so how do you do intentional speaking? You reflect your inner values. These are things you have to know about who you are. You have to know what you do, what you respect. Know the real you, like I said, not the man in the mirror, not the projection, not the mama you, not the boss you, not the auntie you, but the you. When I always tell my clients, I want to know who you are, stripped down, butt naked, looking in the mirror. Who are you? Nothing on but the real you. So you speak from your core, you align with what you feel inside and what you express outside. You align those things. Leaders speak from their core, communicate with clarity, vulnerability, and purpose. And a lot of us don't like to be vulnerable, but sometimes, we're not saying you got to break down in front of people, but be vulnerable enough to hear about yourself and your shortcomings. So speak your core. What gets in the way of speakers, you speaking from your core, and really a few of them is fear, and the fear of rejection is a big one. Speak from who you are, not from your labels or the lies that have been said about you. Stop accepting limiting beliefs about yourself. Stop saying things about you. Write your own story. We do that. Stop writing your own story. Let your story unfold. Don't be your own worst end. Remember, and I want you to remember this, you are not broken. You are becoming. And I'll say that again. You are not broken. You are becoming. So we lead with empathy. You connect with the people, not just their professions or what they can do. You mean what you say and say what you mean. That's because you're clear, you're concise. People respect when you say what you mean what you say, and people respect when you make a mistake. How about, okay, I made a mistake. That was on me. It's okay. Nobody's perfect. And then always do self-reflection. Why do you want to lead? 3 steps to lead with intention to get great communication. Clarity of personal, you have intentional communication. Choose the word that align with values. And sometimes that takes us counting to 10 before we speak. And ensure consistency. Now, excuse me. So here are some barriers that you can I'm sorry about some barriers that we come up against with. These are the imposter syndrome, the fear of repercussions and judgment, navigating your emotions, fear of stepping into leadership. Oh my God. Okay. So these are some barriers that stop us from being who we intend to be. Now, okay. The trifecta leadership system, once again, is inner clarity, understanding yourself, developing clarity, connect with your inner voice. Okay. And that's what we are going to do. We have to listen intuitively and perceive not only the words, but the emotions and intentions behind them. Inspire people to talk to you. Get the open dialogue. Listen with and respond in ways that honors yourself and others. Respect yourself and honors others. Align your words with inner truth. Create clear purpose for driven message. Inspire trust. I have one of my mentors told me, and when are you going to start doing? When are you going to start knowing who you are? When are you going to start being a better communicator? And there's no better time than now. And Eileen Wilder said, procrastination is the assassination of your destination. Procrastination. So the time to start is now. So for just our recap, know yourself, develop self-awareness, and remember self-awareness is not an emotion. It is for men and women. So men can't say, oh, this is just something emotional that you do, and you stop thinking about it that way. It is scientifically proven that this is one of the critical assets of making a great leader and great communication. Speak with intention, clearly, and be rooted in who you are authentically. Listen to understand. Lead with empathy. Booker T. Washington said, success is to be measured not so much by the position one has reached in life as by the obstacles which he has had to overcome. So, and I say, success is not determined by the road you travel, but how you travel the road. And that's how we become great communicators. Number one, by becoming self-aware, knowing who we are, what we do, why we do what we do, and we do it on purpose. And I want to say this about, in closing, I want to say self-awareness is not a weakness, because some of us think that to overcome, but it is wisdom to embrace. I want to say that again. Self-awareness is not a weakness to overcome, but it is wisdom to embrace. It is not about being emotional. It's about being honest, accountable, and intentional. These are qualities that empower men and women alike to rise in their relationships. their careers, their calling. So when you become self-aware, you can turn your individual potential into shared power. So listen to this. So when you become self-aware, you can take what you learn how to be self-aware and share it in your communities, in your home, because now you stand from a position of power. Because when a woman reconnects with her own voice, she becomes a catalyst for transformation. When a woman reconnects with her own voice, she becomes a catalyst for transformation, not only in her own life, but in the life of others. As leaders, we have to have the power to create environments where people feel seen, heard, and valued. So by leading with authenticity, we foster a culture where each voice matters. That's what makes you a great leader. That's what makes you a great communication. So I thank you for being with me today. And I want to give you the opportunity. I have a free bonus. And if you want to, you can go to the QR code and download it, leave your information, and you will get this free bonus. But I'm going to tell you, this is the topics covered on this: self-awareness, consistent, integrity, genuine relationship, clear vision, purpose, transparency, emotional intelligence, resilience, adaptability. So, and then a commitment to a positive impact. So this is, and I want to show you exactly what you get with this. So this is becoming an authentic leader, knowing who you are, knowing how to communicate, and becoming better. So what the checklist helps you do, like a couple of the topics here, this is what you get. You will have some things to check off, and you can see where you stand as far as self-awareness. It's the evaluation piece for you. Where are you with self-awareness? Where are you with your integrity? Where are you with your relationships? I also have a 21-day challenge that in 30 days, if you want to move from where you are to where you want to be in the next 30 days, we have that. Just book an appointment and schedule a call. It's 𝐷RIngramLifeCoach.com. And we also have the Whole Her Empowered Leadership Journey. And that's our 12-week coaching program. And it stands for Worth, Healing, Overcoming, Live, and Elevate, and Emerge Resilient. So if these are, and if you want to be able to take a deeper dive into who you are, and find out more about yourself, how to lead, how to become a better leader. You're good. How to become better, and then you can make an appointment to sign up for one of these. These are my two books: Talk More, Fight Less, and then The Heart of Communication, and they can be purchased on Amazon. So once again, here's the QR code if you want to get the authenticity bonus for you. So thank you for listening. I hope something has caused you to think just a little bit. I hope it inspires you to answer the question, who am I? And to know who you are, and to know that self-awareness is one of the things that we need to conquer to become a good leader and a good communicator, not because I said so, but because the research said so. Thank you so very much. If there are any questions, I would be glad to take questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Sandra. And we have a few questions from our audience, Sandra.
Yes.
I want to ask you one. How does masterful leadership empower others?
How does it empower others?
Yeah. How does masterful leadership empower others?
Yes. So when you have masterful communication, it empowers others, because what you are is the example. You are the thermostat for who you lead. You're not the thermometer. You're the thermostat. You set how you want others to receive you. Now, this may take a little time because people have to learn who you are and learn how to, um, you know, and learn how to accept who you are. So it can help you by you when you empower yourself, you can empower others because now you can lead because you know how to do that.
Yeah, what you said is absolutely correct. And thank you so much for your answer, and thank you so much for your valuable time, Sandra. Yes.
Thank you.
Let's be on the backstage and enjoy the next session.
Thank you.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye bye.